Hello and welcome back. So in this part of the tutorial we're just going to continue on from where we left off in the last tutorial. So we're just going to work on this eye here. So I'm going to go to edit mode and turn these on so you can see what I'm doing. And okay, so what I want to do is I just want to join the eye here to sort of this median kind of strip, and then we're going to work our way down towards the nose and the mouth. So some of this is kind of obvious, so I'm going to select the four of them and press F for face. Kind of less obvious is I'm going to press E and extrude this upward. I'm going to press G here. I'm going to reposition it and make a face there. I want to do the same here. I'm going to go E and bring this down so I have sort of a relatively smooth top to my nose. I will stop at the top of the lip here. So that's sort of going all the way down. Yeah, it's not too bad. And now I want to connect this section here. So just initially I'm going to jump into wireframe mode. So I'm going to press Z and go wireframe. And we've got a few vertices here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go G and move this one up a bit. I'm going to select the four of these and press F and create a face. Now what I'm trying to do, or what I want to do, is I want to create a series of quads. So not triangles. Obviously triangles have 3 edges and quads have 4, so it's like a square or kind of a rectangular shape. So the reason I want them in 4s is I can split a quad in half, or I can put a loop cut in. I can press Control or and add loop cuts in, but I can only do that in quads. I cannot do that in triangles, and there's other reasons why triangles are a bit of a pain, but that's the primary reason. So I'm going to try and keep everything in quads. So I'll select these 4 here and press F and make a face. And then again, I'm sort of I'm going to press G here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And press F to make a face. And now these will match up here. I can press F and F. So I've sort of merged some of these here. So I'll go back to solid mode. To make my face work. Okay, so let's work our way down through sort of the nose and the rest of this kind of cheek area, etc. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm just going to press G and move that forward slightly. So this is going to, I'm going to try and match the geometry I have here while trying to follow the curve of the nose. Okay, now while that's the right shape on this side, now I need to reposition it over here. So again, I'm just going to move it. It's all done by eye. And sometimes the image. So you can see here where sort of the image hasn't really resolved itself. So I think I've gone out too far there. So yeah, because it's not, it's quite a low quality image. So now let's try and make match up this nose here. So I can press hold down Alt and select this loop, and then hold down Alt and Shift and select that loop. So I have them selected. Now we'll do a quick count. So if I deselect these two, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they don't quite match. So let's have a look. So I can definitely join these two together. So I'm going to press F and go back to front view. And I can join these 4 together. But when I go any further, it's not really going to work. So I can do these 4 comfortably. And those 4. And oops, those ones there. Those ones. So that's sort of like the top of the lip. Now the underside of the nose in the middle, that should be straightforward enough. Now this is a bit time consuming and a little bit laborious, but welcome to the glamorous world of 3D modeling. And then I can fill in this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all and go to my mesh and so smooth vertices. No, I'm going to want to go to shade smooth. Where's that? Let's go back out to object mode and go object shade smooth. Okay, so now we've got all these horrible kind of black lines in my model. So if I go back into edit mode, the reason I get that is because I've joined surfaces together and I need to have a look at the normals and see what direction they're pointing in. So every face in Blender has a normal. So let's scrolling down to my mouse wheel here. And yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So in this here, this is kind of my viewport overlay. So this is, you know, the properties of objects in this window. And down the bottom here, I've got normal. So I'm just going to click that and make them a little bit bigger. We'll have a look at what we've got. So all of the normals up here are facing outwards, so toward outside of the skull. But the rest of these ones are pointing inwards. So if I go to face select, which is this guy here, these faces here, the normals are turned inward. And that's not going to be helpful for my modeling, and it's also why I'm getting these black lines. So with those faces selected, I can go face. Oh no, I think I have to go, yeah, mesh, normals, flip. So I'm flipping normals, and then they're going to come out this side, so they have a new direction. Oh, I missed one. So I need to go mesh, normals, flip. And now I have got rid of those black lines, so I can turn them off now. I don't need to see these all the time. So I'm just going to click there and it's gone. So if you do get black lines as you join together bits of the mesh, don't worry about that. You can fix it. You can fix it now like I did, or you can fix it at the end. So let's go back to vertex select. I don't want to select faces because I'm going to make new vertices. So I need a line of vertices going across the cheek. So let's take that guy and that guy, and we're going to extrude that down, and then down to there, and then down to there. So his cheek's going to kind of curl around. And I probably need to position these a little better here. So I'm going to have to do the same here. So I have two more to bring down. So I'll bring these two down. So I'm going to go extrude, rotate them a little bit. And I'm going to extrude them here, and rotate, and extrude them again. And rotate them a little bit. And they're in the wrong position here, so I'm going to bring them across. And then we can worry about getting this around in a second. So let's join these up. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and create a face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do the same in this sort of middle section. Oops, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one of the things we are trying to do is, if I could, you know, if I use the pencil here to annotate, I'm trying to draw a line that sort of starts kind of roughly here, goes across the top of the eye, comes down, sweeps across the nose, goes around the mouth, and kind of to the tip of the chin here. So that sort of S shape almost is where the geometry is, kind of the lines of the geometry should follow that shape, if we can. So I'm going to move these in a little bit closer, and they'll help me get more definition at the side of the nose. They'll also help me follow this path here. I'm going to do the same with that guy. So a little bit symmetrical and straight at the moment. Okay. So, I could join these here, but they cover, it'll be too expansive. It's too big an area to cover. So I want to put in extra geometry here. So I'm going to press Control or, and you can see it's gone all the way around the eye. So that's kind of not helpful. I don't want to add that in. So in order to get extra geometry in here, we'll press F and fill that in. And we'll do the same down here. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Press F and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want extra geometry in this area here. There's a couple of ways to do that. The easiest way is if I just select the two of these and I press E for extrude and then escape, and then I press S and bring that in. And now I've got additional geometry to move around without increasing the vert count outside of this area. So I can make the nose more full, and I can bring this area in here. Yeah, that's much better. Now, the nasal cavity is actually is in this area here. So again, I can go to face select and select that, and press E and escape, and then S. Okay, and then I can extrude up. Okay, and I'm just going to press S over here, make it a bit smaller. So that's sort of going to be my nasal cavity. Now, as I look at it, it would be better if it was spanned over both of those faces. So I'm going to undo. I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. So I'm going to select both of them, both of those faces, and press E, escape, scale, and then extrude inwards. And press S for scale. And you can see here it's gone over the median, so it's going to cross this middle line. So I'm going to go G and move that in, and that's going to give me a better look to my nose. So at the moment, that's how my nose looks. So I'm going to go back to vertex select. I'm going to make the mouth, and then we're 12 minutes in. So by the time we get the mouth done, we'll end this session and move on in the next one to the rest of the face. So let's have a look at this here. So I'm going to select the middle of my mouth. I'm going to be aware of the geometry that's sort of raining down upon me. So I'm going to go extrude and extrude. So I'm going to have an extra 1, 2, 3 here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 to the edge of the mouth. And I'm going to move, as I have all throughout this, I'm going to move these, select them on this side, and move them on this side. Okay. So I need to do the same with the top of the lip and try and match this geometry underneath. So I'm going to go extrude, 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 extrude. And again, just reposition them on this side to try and correspond to the geometry, to the geometry underneath. Okay, so now I can fill this bit in and the bit above it. And I can do this one and that one and this last one here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same here. So this one is good. This is going to give me a very kind of full lip. And so this isn't quite matching. So I'm going to, if I bring this back here, I'm going to end up with a funny piece of geometry. So we won't do that. So this is meant to be sort of like the full part of the lip. Okay, so again I can loop select these things. Now I've got all of this bottom geometry, so I can press C, which is circle select, hold down the middle mouse button and deselect all of that, and deselect both of them, and go edge, bridge, edge loop, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and F for face. So nearly there, and now I've got this one here, and this is the very bottom of the lip, so I'm going to go extrude, and extrude, extrude, and extrude, and then this is going to kind of peel off because it's not part of the lip anymore. So that's going to end up over there. Okay, and there, and there. Okay, and again we can use all sorts of grouping tricks, but it's probably just as quick to select 4 and press the F key. Okay, and we will take these two and we will extrude them to here, and rotate them a little bit, and then extrude here and here and here, here, and then we'll extrude that to there, and then okay. So again, this is all very kind of simple and crude. So I'm going to select those two loops. I can't have those two selected at the top, or it'll say they're connected, and I can't kind of bridge them. Bridge edge loop, and then that leaves me at 1, 2, 3, 4. Press F. So I've got this central piece done. I might just finish off this little bit here. So connect the outside of the mouth to the cheek. So again, I'm just going to go to wireframe for a second so I can see what I'm doing. So I've got 1, 2 here, so I can extrude them. And they're going to move so slightly that way. Back to solid mode. And I'm going to extrude them again, scale them a little bit down. I'm going to rotate them a little bit on this side. And then and on that side there, extrude them again, scale them, and rotate them, and do the same here. So G and R, and you can see I'm trying to get around this mouth. So I'm going to extrude and rotate. Okay. Yeah, it's all good. I'm going to move this one back in a little bit. Oops, and then select these two. I'm going to extrude that to there and rotate it. And we'll just pause there for a second. So we should be able to oh, I think I've forgotten one. So Control or and add that in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a face. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're getting all our black lines in here. So 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then again, we've got a triangle scenario here. So rather than have a triangle, I'm going to go Control or create a loop, position it there, and then I can get a quad. Now that's all very ugly, and we're just going to bring this around. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and reposition these here, and do the same with this one. 1, 2 and 3, and reposition these. Okay, then we'll just join all this stuff up. Press F. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. So nearly there. And as I said, I know it's a bit laborious, but it's worth doing. Just going to select it all, and where is shade smooth? Let's just go to object mode and do it there. So object, shade smooth. Now again, we have these black lines, and that's where we have joined faces together that were kind of created separately. So we're going to edit mode. It's all selected. So I'm going to go mesh, normals, and then recalculate outside. And it's flipped the random ones that are in the wrong direction. It's flipped them for me. So I'm going to go back to object mode, and then I'm just going to do one more thing before we finish this part of the tutorial. So because we're 20 minutes in. So over here, I've got a modifier applied to make it more kind of smooth, more organic looking. So I'm going to add one more modifier. So it's going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go add modifier, mirror. Now we've already done an exercise on how to use the mirror modifier. So what I want to do is I want to mirror this across its origin. If we look at the axis that we're dealing with, it's the x-axis, which when we go in is by default where we go. So mirror, and now we've got both sides. So we don't have to add anything here. So now if I hide these two, you can see that I've made a decent start on the on the face. So I've got my eyes, my nose, and most of my mouth done. So filling in the cheek, so this area here is quite easy to fill in. It's just a bit time consuming, but it's not technically hard. The eye, the nose, and the mouth are much harder than anything over here. The only difficult thing we've left to do really is the ear. The ear is quite a complex shape, and we want to try and create that without using too much geometry. We don't want 3,000 or 4,000 verts in somebody's ear, particularly as they don't move, and your character may end up with a hat on. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. So I'm going to save this, and I'll save this as a blend file, and you can access this and also the video on our shared folder on OneDrive.